So, objectively speaking, I should feel horrible right now, but there's one reason why I feel like $1,000,000 on the tail end of this trip that I just got back from down in St. Louis, Missouri, with Andy Frisella at First Form and the Modern Exodus, of course. That's why I went down there. Ian went, Clyde Bosch, all the guys from the Modern Exodus. We went down to First Form, had an amazing few days. I personally went against everything that I talk about on my page about health, wellness, energy, vitality, getting into shape and whatnot. I literally slept like 3 to 4 hours every single night. I barely drank any water. I had a bunch of synthetic supplements here and there. I was drinking energy drinks. I think I had like 1,200 milligrams of caffeine on Friday. I did everything wrong, yet I don't feel dead inside. And I think it's because of some of the takeaways that I have, took back from this meetup and this retreat down in the Midwest, and it was my first time to Missouri. I have never been there before, and I came back with a fire inside me that I did not have when I was here. And I think it's because, if I'm being real with myself, I was just going through the motions. Like in the back of me, behind me, there's this baggage claim thing where you're just going around and around and around. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing, myself included, is like, even though I've put myself in a better position as far as my career and my health and all this other stuff, it's easy to get stagnant because of this thing called homeostasis. One of the days at the Modern Exodus event at First Form, we did a breakout session, and I spoke about a couple of different things that I want to share with you guys. And I do want to share some takeaways that Andy Frisella himself helped me come to, and Ian as well, and Clyde. We all basically just masterminded all weekend and talked and had a lot of good conversation. Also, the other guys made things click in my head too. Like, this group is awesome, and I want to get to that in a bit, but the first thing that I want to talk about is this concept of homeostasis. And it's like a survival mechanism. Your body does not want you to do any more work than you really should. Because why would you, right? If you don't have to run a marathon to stay alive, why would you do that? People have to get out of their comfort zone and their natural instinctual way of doing things to accomplish feats like that. In terms of you waking up in the morning, why is it so tough to get out of bed? It's because you've been there all night, and you shifting into a different mode is going to take a little bit of discomfort. But here's the big takeaway. That discomfort is pretty much the cover charge that you need to get into the position that you want to be, as far as like any goal that you could have, right? Like, if you're trying to get in shape, maybe if you're trying to pull back the amount of food that you're eating, like, that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. If you want to actually start working out, that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. If you want to just switch your plan in general, right? You've been doing whatever plan for however long, and it's been fun probably, and I would hope so, that you've been enjoying it and you're getting some sort of a return on your investment in terms of feeling accomplished. But if you want to get better results, you might want to switch up the approach from time to time. And if you don't have the balls or the willingness to actually do it, you're not going to be able to switch stuff up in a manner which could give you a different result, right? Like, I myself for many years was just doing the same workouts for a very long time, same sort of eating, wasn't even really tracking or anything, just going off my intuition, but I had no background and no real protocol to go off of. Nobody really taught me anything. I was just kind of like winging it, so to speak, and that's kind of what we're all doing. We're just winging it at all times and not getting hyper focused. But once I had a pattern interrupt of new information from guys like Greg O'Gallagher, Christopher Walker, Lucas Owen, all these guys that basically taught me what I espouse today, anabolic priming in a nutshell, just festered and snowballed over many years, and I added many different things together until I just created like a rock solid, airtight protocol for how to get in insane world-class physique type shape, rock star energy, vitality, limitless pill brain power and mental focus. All this stuff was because I changed things up. And one thing that I think a lot of people need to do in terms of changing things up is, and this is the most impactful, it's what I share with the guys this past weekend, is moving away from active volcanoes. So I've expanded on this in past videos before, but what's an active volcano, right? Like picture this: you're living in a house at the bottom of a hill. The hill is actually a volcano, and this volcano has just erupted, and the lava is pouring down the hill. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna like sit there and rationalize that you could live with the lava in your house, or like if the house gets destroyed, you'll just rebuild it again? No, you're gonna get out of that area, further away from the volcano, as far as you need to get, right? Because that's important for you being able to stay alive and stay safe. And is that like a problem that you want to painfully persist with for the rest of your life? There's a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F, which I didn't really read a ton. You don't have to read the whole book to get the idea, but he talks a lot about you just got to figure out which problems that you like solving in your day to day, and so long as it can provide an income for you, that's probably the dream case scenario for a lot of people in terms of their dream job or their dream career, right? So, with that said, you're not going to live at the bottom of a hill that has a volcano at the top that is active and constantly erupting. It's one thing if it's dormant or if it erupted thousands of years ago or a long time ago and isn't doing that anymore. But if it's active right now, you got to get the hell out of there. So, with that said, where are the active volcanoes in your life? Obviously, I'm not talking about volcanoes here. I'm talking about people, food, music, anything that you consume. This is something that I try to talk about with my coaching clients in my one-on-one coaching program for fitness. You want to be really discriminatory over anything that you ingest or consume consistently. If you go to McDonald's, or I mean, not McDonald's, definitely don't eat McDonald's, but if you go out to eat to like, I don't know, like Chili's or Chipotle, or you have some bad protein bars, or you get like, gas station beef jerky, or whatever it is that isn't necessarily like the highest quality of food that you can afford right now. That's obviously not going to kill you. You're going to survive just like you always have. But with that said, doesn't mean that you need to do it every single day. That should just be like a once in a while type thing. Like this past weekend, one of the things I did was indulge in a lot of different foods that I'm not having every single night. Like I have my caveman cereal, my eggs, my gut bucket, the Greek yogurt bowl with the maple syrup and all that really holistic, high quality ingredients. But I went out and had some cheesecake this weekend. I had some cookies. I had a lot of soda. Like I had all sorts of different stuff that I'm not really eating consistently because it was a short period of time. So with that said, over the stuff that you were doing, eating, consuming, seeing, hearing, feeling consistently or interacting with consistently, you might want to remove the stuff that's detrimental to your health, detrimental to your mental sanctity and your mental clarity and your mood. There's a book called Reality Transurfing that a lot of people have referenced, and there's this idea that your energy is more important than your time. If you think about it, like if you're in a wheelchair, what good is your time? Not that you can't live a good life in a wheelchair, but like say that you wanted to be a extreme athlete or something like that, or you wanted to run a marathon, right? Like you can't really run if you're in a wheelchair. Same deal. Like if you're dead, obviously, I mean that's kind of different. But either way, your energy is far more important than the amount of time that you have, because you could be a baby, but if you have like some sort of deformity or some sort of disability, like you're gonna have a tough time with the amount of time that you do have. But with that said, if you're like a very energized old man, you would wish that you had the time, but you have the energy. But still, with that said, I'd rather be an energetic old man than a slowpoke old man, or like an old man that couldn't do what he needed to do when he wanted to do it, right? Like that's why I'm going to be working the land, being outside in the sunlight, straight up monastic type stuff when I'm an old man, God willing. But anyway, like you want to be really focused on the negatives in your life, because a lot of people have this fallacy that if they want to improve their life or level up their life, they can keep doing the wrong things if they just start doing more of the right things. So say that you're trying to get in shape and you're trying to lose a little bit of body fat. Can you continue to eat like Chipotle, milkshakes all the time, drink soda, uh, smoke weed, drink alcohol, and all that stuff, if you just start eating a salad here and there, or if you start eating a pound of beef, like all these, even if they are micronutrient dense, that's just more calories, which doesn't really help your weight loss problem, right? Same deal. If you want to get into a better position with your career and you're spending a bunch of time playing video games, or you're just like doom scrolling, or you're watching like movies all the time or listening to music when you could be listening to like an audiobook and all this other stuff, like if you just add audiobooks and YouTube videos and all that other stuff that can be really beneficial for your career advances and putting yourself in the mind of the person that you want to become, like that stuff will help, but it's not going to be able to outrun the bad things that are holding you back in life. So anybody that wants to level up, it's about subtraction, never addition. And if anything, like you can't just remove stuff, you have to replace it. So if you're going to remove a certain food from your life, you have to replace it with something different. Same deal. If you remove a bad habit, or like a bad way to spend your time, like I don't know, like jerking off or drinking with certain people, or doing whatever, you have to implement something else that is a positive in that case, because otherwise you'll just fill it with another negative. Like it'll happen eventually. It's happened to me all the time. When I quit smoking weed, I just started drinking 10 times more. A lot of people can probably resonate with that, and or vice versa. Like quit drinking and you just start smoking a bunch of weed. I've seen it from both spots. But yeah, what we spoke about with the guys in the Modern Exodus was about really being real with yourself. Like, where are you actually going wrong? And this is something that Andy Frisella had us think about Thursday into Friday, I believe, or Friday into Saturday. He told us to go home, and I recommend that you do this too. Write down like what is the current state of your life, and like where are you actually going wrong? Like what is your problem specifically? Where are you holding yourself back? Where are you holding your family back? Your career, your friends, the world? Like where are you going soft on your life goals, the things that you dreamt about? And I have an answer for this that I want to share you with. And I think that one thing that has really been destroying my productivity and honestly like my life, my energy, all different sorts of stuff, it's a crazy ripple effect that I'll get into, but it's procrastination at its core. It's being lazy and just thinking that I have more time than I really do. We don't. We don't know when we're going to pass away. Like I'm about to go home from the airport right now. I might pass away in the car ride home. God willing, I won't, right? Like I hope that doesn't happen. But with that said, I don't have control over that. I mean, I do to a certain extent, but anything could happen, right? So I myself have dealt with not doing things on a day. Like I'll say, okay, I'll do this in 5 minutes, and then an hour later, I'm like, whoa, I was supposed to do that, and now something else is coming up, and I have to push it back even further. And now my back is up against the wall because I have less time to complete the task. The quality of the result goes down, which stresses me and stifles me out even more. I feel guilty over it. It reduces my mental clarity, and it taints my mental sanctity. And that right there, like your mental state, that is your energy. That is what's going to breed good or bad mental energy. So after a while of doing this over and over and over, I become my own volcano, where I'm literally like just agitating myself, torturing myself on a day-to-day basis, and still trying to keep up with all the different things that I have cornered myself into. This career where I'm able to help people get in shape and improve their mindset, all with like biohacking, holistic health. But it also comes down to these more so like personal development focused things, where I'm focusing on how I'm spending my time, how I'm spending my thoughts, what thoughts I'm thinking, what I'm consuming. I used to listen to some pretty brutal rap music, like Young Thug. That I remember like one of the last playlists I had, there's like Block Boy JB, Ski Mask the Slump Guy, like all these. Those are some pretty bad examples. I don't know why they came to mind, but like Party Next Door, who else? Travis Scott, And I love these guys. Like Kid Cudi is a great example. I love Kid Cudi. I love Kid Cudi. He's the best. That guy is depressed. That guy is sad. When you listen to Kid Cudi's music, you're just gonna start teaching yourself that you're depressed. Like a kid named Cudi, I loved that album, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I think I have depression because I'm singing these lyrics, and whatever you say to yourself constantly and think and hear, you are going to start to believe. And this is why I have, the 5 minutes before bedtime. That is where I write my goals down. This is another thing that I brought up is like once I stopped doom scrolling and writing just reading stuff on my phone before bed, and I started actually like trying to program myself for success. That is when I started just only having positive thoughts. I only was experiencing the mindset of a winner, as in I didn't have all these like stressful things popping up in my mind. That's why like back in 2018 2019 I told myself I'm going to stop watching the news, and it actually really worked. Stop watching the news, start listening to audiobooks, I stopped listening to music altogether and started listening to audiobooks, which was a big thing. But I also started writing down my goals more. And as I was writing down my goals, I'm so focused on my bigger, better picture, my life in the future that I really wanted to experience firsthand. And then stuff just started working out for me. All of a sudden, stuff starts falling into my lap. I become a lucky person. And that's the power of programming your mind for success. It's what's called the reticular activation system. If you're ever bored, look up the RAS. It's just your selective focus. And this is how you can program your thoughts so that you are anticipating winning at life, having better health, having better relationships, finding a wife, having a better marriage, being a better person and a superhero for your kids, having your kids look up to you instead of making fun of you, having people look up to you instead of poking fun at you. And you can be like somebody that they respect and admire and look up to. You're an authority, right? As opposed to somebody who's just kind of like blending in with the crowd and going through the motions just like everybody else does. And this going through the motions thing, it's something that you're gonna hit like plateaus with. You're gonna make a bunch of progress and you're gonna fall flat. And that's just kind of the case of it. It's just like there is, I don't know what the rapper was. There's levels to this, and it does come down to just always having the tenacity to realize and the self-awareness to realize I'm stuck, I'm stagnant. And so for myself, like I shared a really personal story with some of the guys at the event on how this procrastination thing really screwed me over. And honestly, like I screwed myself over with it. I only thought of this because of a story that one of the other guys at the event told me, and this just kind of jogged my memory. But my grandfather was kind of like a guy that stays to himself. Like we'd be hanging out at my family house up in New Hampshire, and he would be with us for a considerable period of time, but eventually he'd get mentally tapped out, or he would just, I don't know what, he'd go off back to his side of the house, look on his computer or whatever, and that was just kind of how things went. Like I'd get plenty of quality time with him, just like towards the end of the night he goes back over to his side to kind of get some peace. So there was this day where I was going to drive back home with my family. This is like 5-6 years ago, and I was saying goodbye to everybody, and I was like, where's Grandpa? And they said, oh, he's over on his side of the house. And I didn't feel like going to say goodbye to him. The person that I asked, where is he? They said, hey, you don't have to go and say hi. You could just see him next time. And I was like, yeah, I just really don't feel like walking the 20 steps over to that side of the house, like to go up the stairs over there and just to go say goodbye to my grandpa who I love. Like in my head, it sounded super casual. Now I just feel shameful about it. I feel absolutely sick to my stomach about it sometimes. But I went home that night without saying goodbye to my grandfather, 3 months later, my grandfather got something injected inside of him, and he got sick from that. This is like 5-6 years ago. And from what made him sick, it exacerbated his leukemia symptoms, and he got very sick, and he deteriorated rapidly. He pretty much just withered away, and I saw him about 4 months later on his deathbed. He was unconscious, and I could not talk to him at that point. And the next day, he passed away. So I, because of my own procrastination and laziness, I forfeited the last chance I ever had to speak to my grandfather. What a selfish thing. And I tell you that not to make you feel bad for me, or not to trigger you in any way, but just to show you this stuff is real. This stuff has real effects. The same thing that makes me procrastinate waking up and so I might miss the gym made me lose out on a personal memory that would have been the last time I ever spoke to my grandfather. And obviously I saw him, I had a great time with him that day, but this is something that will eat away at you. I'm not even going to go into the possibilities of the consequences of that laziness and that that procrastination, so to speak. So this is screwing up all sorts of parts of my life. I might look super, well put together, and I have, I'm super on my personal development all the time, but everybody slips. Everybody at every level can get better. Something that Andy said this past weekend, and I really like it, is there was only one human in history that was a perfect man, and it ain't one of us. And I thought that was really powerful. So I'm sharing this with you just to get you thinking about, hey, where do I go wrong? Think, okay, logically, what decisions am I making day to day, and what tendencies am I falling susceptible to that are not in alignment with where I want to go? And that's kind of what I want to finish with, is this concept of alignment and purpose. The reason I had so much fun and had such a great time and had such a memorable experience with these guys this past weekend is because of the alignment that we all have. And the fact that I was able to find them is because I decided to get aligned in myself. I started thinking to myself, hey, how can I get in rooms with guys who think like me, want the things that I want, don't want the things that I don't want, and we can just feed off the energy of each other. The power of proximity is unmatched. If you're around somebody who's super negative, again, a volcano, somebody that's just dragging everybody down, super miserable all the time, not that we shouldn't try to pull each other up, but after a while of you trying to help somebody, and they're just not getting it, you don't owe anybody your sanity. I brought up this example of these guys I used to work with, and one of my bosses was really stressful. And I didn't like waking up and feeling like I was going to have a heart attack at 7:30 a.m. And guys are drinking and smoking on the job, and all sorts of different things that I just did not enjoy. And I had to leave that job eventually. I stayed there for way longer than I should have because I wasn't aware of this concept of that's a volcano. I thought that I just had to deal with people that were super stressful all the time just because of my relationship to them. And not that we shouldn't love people and we shouldn't care about them and want to help them, as I said earlier. But with that said, you got to know when to call it quits and just love people from afar, so to speak. So enjoy your vices to some degree, but keep them on the back burner, right? I love a good Mexican Coke because it's made with cane sugar, tastes better than regular high fructose corn syrup Coca-Cola, but I don't need to have a Mexican Coke every single day. This is an occasion thing. This is something that I do every once in a while. Us in the Modern Exodus, we were smoking cigars this weekend. That is an occasional thing. I don't smoke cigars every day, no matter if they can boost my testosterone and DHT and all that good stuff, and lower prolactin, boost dopamine, right? It made for really good conversation. But it also made for really good conversation because we were in super in alignment. All these guys, we all think alike, we all have the same ambitions, and we want to make the same sort of change in the world. And that's why we had such well thought out and constructive conversations. But with that said, one other thing that I really want to share with you is this idea of stop wasting thoughts. Stop wasting time on things that you've already come to conclude on, right? Like, would you go back to school and learn how to do 2 + 2 again and again and again? No, you definitely wouldn't do that. So me, myself, I doom scroll just like anybody else does. There's certain things that are going on in the world and that are going on in certain countries that are, committing all sorts of like war crimes and stuff. Like, I don't need to watch another video for why Israel is the scum of the earth. Like, I already know. So when I'm like on my phone at the end of the night or whatever, and I see, oh, so and so did this again, like, of course my eye is going to get drawn to that. But what is that going to do for me? I'm just going to trigger myself and get more like worked up and upset, and I'm already working towards that problem. Like, I'm already trying to be that positivity in the world, that, embodiment of Christ, prayers, like all these different things that I'm trying to have a greater impact on the world in this like spiritual war. But I don't need to keep like agitating myself. That's, for me, a volcano, like one that I have to be really cognizant of in this day and age. So that's the other thing too, is just like this past weekend, we were able to keep ourselves within our boundaries. We were able to call each other out on our BS. We were able to just like have an outside perspective. You can't see your blind spots by definition. Don't try. You're not going to. And that's where having somebody take a look at whatever you're working on, whatever you're having trouble with, whatever you're doing well with, to see if there's a better, faster, more guaranteed way with less downsides and more upsides. That's where other guys, other like-minded guys who want you to win and expect the same from you in terms of like helping them, and we help each other, pull each other up. And that's how we're going to all hit an upward spiral together. And that's why I was able to walk out of this weekend underslept. Maybe I slept like 9 to 12 hours over the last 4 to 5 days total. I still feel like $1 million. I still feel like I have the energy of a rock star right now. And it's because of vitamin P, vitamin purpose, vitamin A, vitamin alignment. Like, I'm doing what I know I need to do when I'm supposed to do it, whether I feel like it or not. And I'm just living my life being a human, not being so focused on the details like the metrics and how many calories I'm eating, how much sleep that I'm getting, like whether or not there's seed oils in this food, right? Like, this is an exception, not the rule. I'm about to go home, lock in for a whole week, back in the lab, supplying myself with the proper nutrients and the proper foods and the proper environment for me to like lock in on some work. And we're going to get ready for the next Modern Exodus event, which is going to come up very, very shortly. So if you haven't already, go check out the Modern Exodus on Instagram. It's modx_project. Check out Clyde Bosch or Ian Wendt, the founders. You could check out me on Instagram, Garrett_Salem. And yeah, guys, if you want help with fitness coaching, right? You want to get into the best physique that you've ever had in 2026, or if you have any other goals regarding your health, like energy, vitality, remember, your energy is more important than your time. So you better get that in check first before anything else, so you can be a more effective man and have a greater impact on the world, and just enjoy every single moment to the best of your ability. So I'll leave you guys with that. I'm going home. Peace.